Welcome everyone to another session of the Product Management View webinar series. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, product management professionals can pick up the latest in thought leadership, tips, and tricks. Peter Ganza has more than 10 years of experience in the technology industry. Before joining RIMA, he held a variety of strategic product management and technical roles at Symantec. He was a founding member of Symantec's competitive product management team. At RIMA, he is responsible for the professional services group, and he is a pragmatic trained product manager. Take it away, Peter.
And thanks everybody for attending today's session around best practices in product management tools. It's going to be kind of an interesting session. I'm going to talk about a few different things here. We'll just start off with a little brief introduction and talk a little bit about what we're seeing in terms of trends in the PM community, in the tools that they use, and the best practices or lack thereof of using these various tools that they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So we'll talk a little bit about that, about what we see in that space in the community, some of the best practices we've gleaned from working with these various systems and the various groups that we have to collaborate with. And then we'll finish off with just a couple carrots to leave you with around some of the growth opportunities we've seen for product management and what life after product management may potentially look like. So to kick off, we just want to talk a little bit about what does product management look like today. Well, we are, of course, the center of the world in any given organization, and we're the one group that, of course, everyone is screaming at, looking for answers from, and trying to be involved in our process. And this slide gives us just kind of a simple view of the day-to-day life of a product manager. If we look at the top layer, these are the different tools or groups within the organization that we tend to have to work with in some fashion. And in most cases, they're automated in some way, and we'll talk a little bit about those different groups. So we've got the different pieces of the puzzle, things like CRM tools that sales is using, which we may interface for perhaps win-loss data or customer information. We, of course, everyone's personal favorite, have our enhancements and our bugs flowing in from our customers and from our constituents in some fashion. It could be through emails. In most cases, we've got something online via the web, some kind of a web database to store this information. Of course, we're getting lots of information from the field. This could be people in sales, services representatives, or people in support screaming at us in one way or another. Can't forget about research. Depending on your organization, some of us live and die by market or analyst research. I can remember many times in my past loving the Gartner Magic Quadrants and using those on a day-to-day basis. So we, of course, can't forget about the research entity. And, of course, definitely not last or least is our developers and our QA. We have to work very closely with those two groups. And, of course, there are a variety of tools, methodology, and process behind that segment in the organization. And, of course, we have to interface with them very, very closely. So all these things are streaming into us as product managers. And as you can see by the funny little icon, we end up being very, very tired and having a few too many bottles of bourbon in our desks at the office. And we have to output out of that process something. In most cases, there's a variety of documents or reports. You can see a few examples here, things like MRDs, PRDs, contractual or business case documents, and, of course, everyone's favorite, the roadmap. So we've got a lot of people screaming at us, a lot of things that we have to use, and, of course, a lot of things that we have to develop out of this process. So let's drive a little bit into the different areas and see some of the things we're going to find. So the first place is probably the simplest, CRM tools. More or less everybody has a CRM tool in some fashion or another. I've listed a couple of the common ones that we seem to run across here, such as Salesforce.com, Oracle, Siebel, and some others. And this, of course, is one of the most traditional tools that we find in any given organization. Of course, one that's being used most often by sales. But as product managers, we often try to get a very valuable piece of data from sales and in the form of win-loss data. And it's an interesting problem that we're seeing in the industry because on one hand, the tools are there. Everyone has a Salesforce. Everyone has an Oracle. Everyone has a Siebel or something. In most cases, there is some win-loss data there. But there's a couple problems that we run into. The first problem we run into is we have difficulty getting the information.